everyone, they don't know who Jack Enrile is. They just know that you are the son of Senator Enrile. So, for example, for me, I don't follow politics that much. I only
Good for you.
I only joined Blog Watch because I felt that I'm like most of the people. We don't follow politics, but we just know you through what we see on TV, what we hear on radio. So, what is the difference between you and your father? What will you? How can you convince us, normal people who doesn't really follow politics, to vote for you? Because for us, if we don't like your father, we won't vote for you.
I agree.
So
I agree.
how can you?
Well, my orientation has basically been in business all my life. I started my first business, small business, when I was 18 years old, and some of my ventures have actually been successful. Many have not, but that is part and parcel of business life, and I guess that is also part and parcel of political life. In terms of personality, my father tends to be a little bit more emotional than I am, I think. He certainly is more talkative than I am. His orientation has been in the legal profession. So his worldview centers around the law and how that applies to everybody else. My background really was basically in business, and I thought that I was really going to stay there. But there was a calling much later in life. I got into politics almost when I was 40. And by today's standards, that is late. So I had basically a choice in my life whether to pursue business or perhaps, give something back. And at first, I was a reluctant politician. I did not, like you, was not really engaged in it. My father was my father. That was his business, but I had my own thing going. Until I was exposed to Cagayan politics, local politics. And I saw the potential of the people of Cagayan. Now, we are district, we're very parochial. We think in terms of the 10 towns of a district. And the 150,000 or so people that actually inhabit that particular, or 300,000 people that actually inhabit that particular corner. But to make a conscious decision, to get into something that you are not actually at that point in life so comfortable with because of your desire to contribute, I think speaks something about the person. And having basically devoted the first 40 years of my life to raising my family, providing for my family, giving myself an opportunity in life that many people desire, I thought that, there was a point in my life that I could start to give back. Well, was I comfortable from the beginning? No, I still am not. I am not the typical politician that basically engages within the circles of what you would consider politician. I still consider myself very much an outsider. And I bring that perspective. I bring that perspective to leadership. I always try and think of new things. You are all involved in this wonderful new thing called the blogosphere. Well, in 1999, I wanted to do the same thing, but only in terms of legislation. I did not want to have a lot of bills. I wanted to focus on specific bills. And on the 11th Congress, when I first won, I was the first one to file Batas Kasambahay. It was never filed in this country before that. Was I successful? It took us 14 years to pass that measure. It's almost the same amount of time as the RH. It was only signed into law in this Congress a couple of weeks back, in January 18. But I was the first. Now, do I take credit for that? Of course not. No one congressman, no one senator can lay claim to any piece of legislation, no matter how brilliant. But you need to start it. Just like you guys, you started this blog watch. You started with the vision of staying there for 6 months. Then you went a year, and you went another year. The same thing with me. I started 1 term, then perhaps another term, then a 3rd term, and then I rested for 1 and then came back again. The food sovereignty bill is the same story. It is something new, something innovative, something that I want to throw out there, just like you, to be able to engage the other leaders of this country to look at this particular issue and come up with something that will benefit the country. That is why I'm running. I'm not saying that you should vote for me. I just want you to know why I'm running.
Because of the food. Have you asked for help from your father since he's a Jack? So
He never campaigned for me. I never campaigned for him. We always had sort of differing political views on how politics should be in this country. Perhaps maybe that's why I'm not within the in crowd. I'm sort of somebody out here, the outlier.
can you give some specific examples of your differences? Like,
Me and my father,
yeah.
on certain positions we differ. On the RH bill we differ. You know, I supported the RH bill. On the sin tax, he was against it. He didn't want to push it. I pushed for the sin tax.
Is that deliberate?
No. I don't differentiate myself to be different. You know, on the sin tax, the administration needed to raise revenues. Now, mind you, it was 60 billion. The House passed a version that was almost half that, was 31. I thought that was a good compromise between the needs to raise revenues and the need for us to sort of sacrifice. You know, demand will go down certainly, but you can introduce other crops to help augment the income of the local farmers, and that was taken into consideration. You know, there are other issues that you know, in hindsight, I always asked him, and probably when you ask him, he will mention this. I always asked him why he was always associated with the former President Marcos. How he could have continued to serve a man like the president at that time, that when the president was no longer there. And those are the things that father and son differ. But it does not mean that if I am in the Senate, I will be a willing lapdog to my father, and he knows that. And he would be the first one to tell you, yan si Jack, may sariling pananaw yan sa buhay.
Nice to know. Thank you.
Next, Grace.
Hi, sir.